I'm gonna go live in a minute and present. I can't even see Sean. I wonder if Sean on here. Hold on. Can y'all see my screen? Hold on. Okay, there it is. Okay. All right. Well, I ain't gonna delay it. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. This is gonna be a small PowerPoint presentation. I didn't want to make it too long because I know our attention span is not that long. The name of my presentation is North Africa Famous Monument Master Builders Presentation. Okay, I'm gonna put out a disclaimer. Disclaimer. I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information, and that information provided is for the education purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research and have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation to shut down, sell, or change the terms of the use at my own discretion. All trademarks, designs, rights, copyrights, registered names, mottos, logos, avatars, insignias, and the marks used or cited by this website are the property of their respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available and or adapt changes, improve information as it comes available in the future. Input wanted, change, addition, deleted, encouragement. Oh, I should have had it. What's the name? Okay. All right. I put this quick PowerPoint together to show our babies as well as an adult that we build great things despite what the school system is teaching. The school system teach the Greeks and the Romans were master architects, but excluded the African race who were the first master architects and whom we taught them. Greek architects refer to the agriculture of the Greeks and speaking people who inhabited the Greeks mainly and Peloponnese. The ideal of the Aegean Sea, the Greek colony in Ione, coastal Asia Minor, and the Magnus Graecius, Greek colonies in Italian and Sicily. Greek architecture stretches from 900 BCE to the 1st century CE, with the earliest extant stone architecture influenced Roman architectures and architects in profound ways, such that the Roman imperial architects adopted and incorporated many Greek elements into their own practice. And overall and basic building type of typology demonstrated the range and diversity of the Greek agriculture. Peace, Sin. Peace, Sean. All right, Nubia. So before I get started, I'm gonna be using a lot of terms that the indigenous people said. I'm not going to I'm going to get away from these Greek terms. So you see here where I have Nubia up here, but the correct terminology that the people identified the landmass as is Tai Nahesi or Tai Seti. So Tai Nahesi, agriculture 3700 BCE to 3200 BCE. It is one of the most ancient in the world, now that the pyramids, which is the term for pyramid, is Meru. Meru 2700 BCE to 1600 BCE are the most famous class structures in all Africa. The Meru in Kemet remains one of the world's greatest earlier architects' achievements. Remich architecture traditions also saw the rise in the vast temples, complexes, and buildings. The Remich Merus are ancient pyramid-shaped masonry structures located in Kemet. Sources cite either 118 to 138 as a number of identified Egyptian pyramids. Most were built as tombs for the country king or the Nasut Biti as their consorts during the Old and Middle Kingdom. Now, my whole thing is putting this together was to do this presentation to show that our ancestors were master builders. In the school, or what I refer to as the food system, they teaches our babies that the Greek and the Romans civilized the world or built civilizations, and they was the master teachers. Now, going back to what I said a while ago right here with Ta-Nehisi, we know Ta-Nehisi has one of the most ancient structures, but I'm going to talk about the most famous structures, and that is in Kemet, or what y'all refer to as Egypt, but I'm going to refer to it as what the people call it, Timeri or Kemet. And in this presentation, I will be referring to it as Kemet. Now, let's go back to what I was saying, how they teach us that the Greeks and the Romans was the first people to be master builders in civilization. Now, the date that I gave here for Ta-Nehisi is 3700 BCE. BCE is before the Common Era. Then the famous structures that were created in North Africa that we call Kemet is around 2700 to 1600 BCE. This is the timeline of the structures of the pyramid, or the mud brick age and the stone brick age. So I'm gonna go back to this one. Now, BCE and CE or AD. AD is Latin for Ado Dominion, which means the year of our Lord. I do not like to use AD Dominion. So I use the Common Era time, but Common Era and BCE times. The BCE times go backwards. The Common Era time that we in goes forward. So 900 BCE here and 3700 BCE here. 3700 BCE is before 900 BCE. 2700 BCE is before 900 BCE. So how could it be that the Greeks was the first people to civilize the world and be master builders if we have our ancestors here creating things well before you get to a Greek civilization? Okay. Now, the Egyptians, or the Remich, as they would call themselves, or the Kemetu or the Remich, learn how to build dirt and mud structures by watching and studying ants and termites. Now, our ancestors looked and studied nature. They learned everything by looking at nature. So they learned how to build these structures, which I'm going to show some of the famous structures. They learned how to build these structures by ants and termites. Ants built in dirt. So I have a picture here where you can show the ant mound right here. They observed in nature the ants building. They observed here. They observed the they observed the termites building in mud. This mud mound by the termites. So I just wanted to show these two pictures of what our ancestors seen in nature. They observed the ants building. So I mentioned mud brick, and then I mentioned stone or limestone. So here is what they call the mastaba, but we know this is an Arabic term, and they did not use Arabic in North Africa at that time. We know that the Arabs are over there today. We know the Arabs came in at 641 BCE. We know the Arabs returned back in there, and they are actually running Egypt now. They are intruders in North Africa today. but they looked at this structure and called it a mastaba, which mastaba, it looks like a bench. That's what the Arabic word mastaba means. But the people in North Africa, again, I'm going to use the terminology. I'm going to use the language that these people spoke. So it was called Perjet, and Perjet means the house of eternity. You have the word per, which we would know that is what that is, or know what it means, because you would see an enclosure, a house enclosure, and a house enclosure means per. And then your word dejet means eternity. So we would see in the glyphs, we would see a rising cobra and a half bread loaf, which give us the word dejet, which means eternity. So mastaba, Arabic bench, rectangular superstructure of an ancient Egyptian, or the remich. I'm gonna quit saying Egyptian, but I put Egyptian up there because I know everybody knows the word Egyptian and doesn't know the word remich or know the word Kemetu. The remich tombs built in mud brick or later stone with sloping walls and a flat roof. A deep shaft descended to the underground burial chamber. From the mastaba per dejet, the step pyramid of the Zoja was crafted. So they first started building in mud brick. Again, I said that the ancestors learned how to build in mud, dirt and mud first. So they observed the termites and they observed the ants. So this is what they got first. And then from the perjet or the mastaba, they went from this into this stone structure, which I just mentioned, the step pyramid of Zoja was crafted. So here we have the step pyramid and the pyramid of Zoja. Now this pyramid of Zoja, or Netaket, as some would call him, that is his Haru name. All the Nasuk Bitis, Nasuk Biti only mean king or dual king, king of lower and upper Egypt, the king of the Nasut of Tai Mahu and Tai Shamu. The vizier Imhotep, which we'll talk about Imhotep at the bottom, was actually designed this, and all it is the mud brick mastaba of the project stacked on top of each other to create the first pyramid structure. The step pyramid is located in northwest of Memphis. And again, I'm going to use the terminology of what the people say, what the people name those land masses, those countries. It is called Hekka Patah. This is what we know it as Memphis, Egypt, as today, but it was called Hekka Patah in the Saqqara necropolis of Kemet. Today, it is known as a step pyramid due to the step appearance, but in the Kemetu times, it was referred to as the Kephu Netcheu, commissioned and for the burial of the Nasuk Bidi, designed to construct, was overseen by his vizier Imhotep. Imhotep was a talented architecture and builder who succeeded in creating something that had never been seen before. It was designed that would often be repeated, even improving upon it. It's giving birth to an ancient industrial dedication of the afterlife, one that would leave an indelible mark of the Kemet life as well as death. Imhotep was a versatile genius. He took a number of roles in his life. He was the highest priest. The priest, he was a hymn netcher or a tepi, chief counselor of, and again, I'm using the terms that they will use, chief counselor to the Nasut Biti, an accomplished sculptor and architecture. He improved upon the existing funeral design of the mastaba by building mastabas of dwelling sides, each on top of each other. I just talked about that. He took the design of the mastaba and he began to build them on top of each other. When it was finished, he had produced a stairway of heaven upon which the Nasuk Biti Zoja could ascend to the next life. Now, it says Imhotep was, like I said, Imhotep was the one to design this pyramid by taking the mastabas or the Perdijet, and which is the house of eternity, and stacking them on top of each other for King Zoja, or the Nasut Zoja, or the Nasut Netiket, which was his Aru name. Imhotep was many other things too. He was also the father of medicine, but they don't teach you that in the food system. They teach you about Hippocratic, and we know that the Hippocrat, which is a Greek, we know that when you're in the medical field, the doctors and the nurse have to take the Hippocratic oath once they finna get ready to start practicing medicine. But we know that Hippocratic studied from Imhotep out of North Africa, who was a black African, a great genius at that point of time. Now, the unfinished pyramid, the pyramid of Sekemket, the landscape of Kemet was forever altered by a design of the step pyramid, and the ruler who followed Zojas were keen to put their own stamp on the landscape by proceeding with similar examples of monument architecture. The next attempt occurred during the reign of Nasut Biti dual king Sekemket, the second ruler of Kemet, third dynasty. The Sekemket was Zoja's direct successor and has been estimated as a ruler of Kemet for approximately 6 years. The pyramid Sekemket was a grand design located to the southwest of the step pyramid. Everything about the design suggested that the monument was invasive to build upon the example of the first pyramid and surpassed it both by scale and style. But unfortunately, possibly due to his period of reign being shortened to the Nasut Biti dual king Zoja, the pyramid of Sekemket was never actually completed. Far from dwarfing the step pyramid, the unfinished masterpiece instead barely progressed above ground level, earning it a less flattery nickname in the years to come, the Buried Pyramid. The layer pyramid, the pyramid of Kaaba. The next attempt to the pyramid building also occurred during the third dynasty of Kemet under the Nasut Biti Kaaba. The structure was located in the necropolis of Ziyat el-Iran in Kemet. Although still disputed, the layer pyramid has been argued as having contained tombs of Nasut Biti Kaaba. Evidence for this comes not from the layer pyramid itself, but rather from the excavation at the tomb inside associated with the pyramid complex. Archaeology's excavation has uncovered a lot of data about the burial pyramid and the layer pyramid. Excavation at the unfinished pyramid of Sekemket were undertaken in the 1950s by an Egyptologist, Zechariah Gonin. Prior to his archaeology investigation, the pyramid was unknown, evidenced only by a strange rectangular shape in the desert. Gonin identified the pyramid as an unfinished structure consisting of one step measurement over 250 feet along its northern side. Through the passage, some third dynasty stone vessels and papyrus were located, and a wooden casket containing golden was discovered, along with the beads and jars inscribed with Sekemket, named the alabaster sarcophagus cut from a single block was also identified and revealed as an attempt after an opening possible due to the grave robbers and the early areas. Egyptologist Jean-Philippe Laurie also located a particular discovery tomb at the southern side of the burial pyramid with a wooden coffin containing the remains of a 2-year-old child. At the end of the third dynasty, none of Kemet's rulers had yet able to exceed the design of Imhotep and the ambitions to the Nasut Biti Zoja, and exemplified by the step pyramid. Now you can see right here that after the construction of the step pyramid of Zoja, the successors in the third dynasties, the Nasut Bitis that came after Zoja, started trying to duplicate the step pyramid. But due to them trying to duplicate the step pyramid, they went through certain areas, trials and areas of trying to duplicate this pyramid. The medium pyramid, the pyramid of honey. The Nasut-Binti Hani was determined to succeed, so he altered construction work to begin to the south, complementary Cairo in the medium. The town was to be located of a large pyramid, which in turn would be surrounded by clusters in a huge mud brick mastaba, known later as a pyramid of the medium. This structure sought in a design to emulate in the initial work of Imhotep, and his designer was even one of Imhotep's successor. But the successor modified in the initial step pyramid design was proven a disastrous. The Nasut-Binti Hani passed away before the work could be completed, so his successor Seneferu decided to carry on with the works and see it through. Adding to already existing problems was the fact that the pyramid was already under construction when its design was altered due to the new request from Seneferu to make it bigger. As a result, the construction was extended, and the step of the completed structure was encased in limestone upon the sand base. So you can see that Seneferu, after Hani passed, Seneferu came in, his successor came in to complete the medium pyramid of the pyramid of Hani. Now you're going to see with Seneferu the evolution of the pyramid starting to take place. So we've seen that some of the Nasut-Bintis in the third dynasty was trying to duplicate the step pyramid, which we know the steps pyramid comes from the Perdijat, or what they are known as the Mastaba mud brick buildings being stacked on top of one another. So now Seneferu is going to come in after he finished Hani pyramid, and he's going to take building pyramid to a master building to the next level. And you can see they went from mud brick to limestone and granite is what they went into. Okay, the bent pyramid, the pyramid of Seneferu. The Nasut-Binti Seneferu was not easily deterred from the unsuccess of repeating the magic of the step pyramid by the Nasut-Binti Zoja. The next attempt by Nasut-Binti Seneferu was to construct the bent pyramid. While the bent pyramid certainly looks strange, especially in comparison to the Kemet most famous pyramid of the Meru, the significance of the bent pyramid is the way in which its design represents a transitional stage. Like I was saying, the pyramid started going into a transitional stage. He started taking it to another level. He stopped trying to duplicate the step pyramid and then transition into his own design. The design of the step pyramid had been altered, and this first attempt to construct a smooth side pyramid, the result was not exactly as extended, but was a new direction from the pyramid design in Kemet, and it did achieve would be imposed upon the years to follow. It boasts two entrances, multiple chambers, including one below ground, and a hole in a ceiling of the northern chambers connected to the western entrance passageway. The pyramid name at the time of Seneferu, the southern shiny pyramid, to the day still retains the majority of the outer layer and polished limestone. The bent pyramid revolutionized subsequently building techniques, but any view of the pyramid quickly indicated all did not go as planned, possible dissatisfied at the end result of the bent pyramid. Give me 1 second, y'all. Hotel to the family out there that just joined, and I'm just looking in. I'm logged into 2 devices. Okay, the red pyramid, the north pyramid, the Nasut-Binti Seneferu. Now you can see here Nesnef, I'm messing the name up, Seneferu. He finished the he finished the medium pyramid. Then he went on to build the bent pyramid, which he left trying to duplicate the step pyramid. So he went on to create his own design. The bent pyramid was the first form of that design, which he was dissatisfied. So now we're going into the red pyramid, which was the smooth side pyramid, where he actually got right. The Nasut-Bidi Seneferu started working immediately on the new structure adjacent to the last one. This time, the angle was correct on this new pyramid to the 43 degree from the very base of it all the way to the aspect. This will come to call the red pyramid, based the red color of the stone used to construct it, or sometimes the North Pyramid. The name of the red pyramid was applied to it long after construction because it was originally encased in white Tura limestone. The underlying reddish color was only revealed over time as a limestone was stripped away, taken by builders who used it for their own local construction need. You will see also that a lot of times the limestone that was on these pyramids that I'm talking about is still standing today. I'm only going to go through the first through the sixth dynasty, showing you the pyramids, because there's 118 to 130 pyramids. But you can see, but these pyramids that's still standing, they have been stripped of their limestone and their granite, and these limestone has been used later on in time to build other different structures. That's why you don't see the limestones on the pyramids today as you go over there. Its underlining reddish colors was only revealed over time as the limestone was stripped away, taken by builders who used it for their own local construction needs. Such workers would include a variety of buildings in Cairo construction during Egypt, Kemet, so-called Middle Age. Some instances of the past casting the still visible at the site, but by and large, it is all gone, revealing the red color underneath. When this completed, it broke a number of world records. It became the tallest standing human structures anywhere in the world at the time, and it also became the first successful construction of smooth-sided pyramids. The red pyramid located less than a mile to the north of the bent pyramid, and the red pyramid was resounding success from Seneferu. So we know that the red pyramid became the red pyramid after the limestone was actually pulled off of the pyramid. The name became later on, but it was first known as the North Pyramid. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the Pyramid of Khufu. Now, in addition to being one of the ancient wonders of the world, the Great Pyramid of Giza, extraordinary for a number of reasons. It is one of the greatest feats of engineering in the ancient world. Is extraordinary for the number of reasons. It is one of the greatest feats of engineering in the ancient world to extend to its remaining the tallest building structure in the world from the time it was finished up to the Lincoln Cathedral was completed around 1300 AD. The fact the nearly 520 feet tall spire of the cathedral was erected nearly 3,800 years after the Great Pyramid of Giza was constructed, a testimony in its own way of longevity of the pyramid itself. Ever since the time of its remaining in monuments, that it has stood the test of time, remaining the only one of the original wonders of the world. You can go look up the seven wonders. Most of the seven wonders is not still standing, but this seven wonder right here, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, is still standing. The archaeologists have estimated that when completed, the Great Pyramid stood 480 foot tall, with each side measuring 750 feet in length, with a total mass estimated at being 5.9 billion tons and a volume approximately of 2.5 million cubic meters. The remains of the pyramid. Now, this here is the remains of the pyramid of Djedid Efre, and we don't hear too much about the pyramid of the Efre. We always hear about, when we talk about the Giza Plateau, we hear about Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. We hear about those three pyramids, but we very seldom hear about Khufu's second successor, which was his son Djedid Khafre. And this is the ruins of his temple, and you will see why this pyramid is in ruins here. The Nasut-Bidi Khufu, son of the successor Djedid F. Khafre, sought to emulate his father's success, commissioning similar works of his own, resulting in what could come to be known as the Pyramid of Djedid Efre, or Djedid Efre Starry Sky, as it was known as in ancient times. The Djedid Efre pyramid was constructed to both vast and beautiful Nasut-Bidi. Djedid Efre pyramid was built south of Giza at Ziyat el Iran, but was not as large as the Great Pyramid of Giza. The structure had interior and polished granite and limestone, and the workers imported raw material with high levels of quality. It was also grounded by a large periodium of capstone at the apex of the pyramid. Despite the precision of its construction and the beauty of its outcome, the pyramid of the Djedid Efre had not stood the test of time. Today, it is little more in piles and ruins, led by many early archaeologists toward the conclusion that the pyramid was not completed, but its use of highly quality imported building materials made a target in later years. With the first started in uncertainty, although the end of the New Kingdom period has been identified as the most likely period in which material was taken from this pyramid and used for new projects. The Pyramid of Khafre. The next major pyramid to follow was constructed in Giza by Nasut-Bidi Khafre, who succeeded Nasut-Bidi Djedid Efre. Said he is another son of Khufu, also in the 4th dynasty. The Nasut Khafre was constructed adjacent to the Great Pyramid of Giza and rose to the height nearly of 450 feet, with a base having a length of over 700 feet. Limestone blocks were used in its construction, along with pink granite and casing Turo limestone, all built upon the natural bedrock formation. The pyramid was contained in the tomb of the Nasut-Bidi Khafre in the 4th dynasty, but it was broke into by a grave robber during Kemet first intermediate period. Now, the intermediate period, for those that don't know about the intermediate period, you have pre-dynasty, then you go from the pre-dynasty to the 1st dynasty, and I'm giving you only the famous structures from the 1st to the 6th dynasty. Now, the first intermediate period, you can do your own research about the intermediate period, but the intermediate period was a dark age, and this intermediate period was different things that took place that collapsed the kingdom. So the old kingdoms went from the 1st dynasty into the 6th dynasty, and the first intermediate period started from the 7th dynasty to the 11th dynasty, when Mentuhotep reunited Lower and Upper Kemet, or Lower and Upper Taimahu and Tai Shaimu, and the Middle Dynasty took off. But do your research on the first intermediate period, and you can see why the country collapsed at that time. North Africa collapsed at that time. It was open in 137 BCE and now containing gratifying now contains graffitis written Arabic on a variable chamber wall, most likely dating to the same period. It is a hypothesis that another structure may have been linked to this pyramid. The famous Sphinx Haru-Him-Oketi. And again, I'm going to use the language that the people spoke. I'm not going to use the terms that the outsiders spoke. So you see in front of Khafre pyramid, you see what they call the Sphinx, but it is called the Haru Imhotep of Giza. Natural outcrops were utilized for the raw material to build this building. And it is what now the Sphinx of the Haru Imhotep was one of those outcrops. Egyptologists have theorized the blocks were cut from the outcrops to use for the pyramid of Khafre. The outcrop itself was carved in the shape into the Haru Imhotep, a mysteriously creature with a human head and a lion body, and a Haru Imhotep was a famous mythological beast known throughout the ancient world, and many Egyptologists think that the faces of the Haru Imhotep is that of Khafre himself. Now, and you can see that the Greeks and the Romans ended up copying the Haru Imhotep and started utilizing them in their own culture as well. You can do some research on their certain thing, or what they call this the Sphinx. Now, this here is the Haru Imhotep. This was just the front part. I mean, with the front part I show you. Now, this is the whole thing of the Haru Imhotep. And some say that Khafre built the Haru Imhotep, and the Haru Imhotep, that face is Nasut Binti Khafre. Then you have some stories that say that, well, you have that the pyramid of Khafre is 4,500 years old, but the and the Sphinx is also 4,500 years old. But you have some Egyptologists that came in. One Egyptologist, he's escaping my mind. They came in 1950. He began to observe the water erosion that is on the neck of the Haru Imhotep on down, the erosion and the watermarks. And other archaeologists came in later and looked at what this Egyptologist was talking about, this water erosion and stuff, and they said that the Haru Imhotep is older than 4,500 years old. It actually was built before the Khafre built his pyramid in Giza, and some dated it back to 7,000 to 500,000 years old, and the face of it was a complete lion at that time. Those are different theories. You can do your research on that. You can to see who was the Egyptologist that came in 1950s and the other Egyptologists that came in during the time, I think, of 1970 and 1997, looking and studying the Haru Imhotep and studying the watermarks and the erosion that was on the Haru Imhotep. The Pyramid of Menkaure. The Pyramid of Menkaure was located on the Giza Plateau. It was constructed to the house of the tombs of the 4th dynasty, Kemet, the Nasut Binti Merkaru. The pyramid is located in the southern outskirts of the contemporary Cairo. It is the smallest of the Great Pyramid of Giza, with its original height estimated to have just under 200 feet, with a base of nearly 300 feet. The pyramid was constructed on a granite and limestone block, with the lowest 16 courses of granite and the entire exterior originally encased in Tura limestone. There was extended to be 3 satellite pyramids next to the Pyramid of Menkaure, but none of these were ever completed. The largest is partly made in granite like the main pyramid, while other 2 did not progress any further than the construction of the inner core. So there you have it, the Giza pyramids, which, you know, was the famous pyramids, the pyramid of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure in the Giza Plateau. Now, these pyramids, now, like as I stated, that they don't teach us this in the full system. They teach us that the Greeks and the Romans was master builders. And as I explained to you earlier, I gave you dates of the construction of these buildings. They predate the structures of Greeks first structures. So we were the first master. We were the first master builders, and we was the first master astrologers. The Giza Plateau was said the three pyramids was in line with the Orion belt. So our ancestors in North Africa was also master astrologers. So they studied the stars. The Great Pyramids were laid out in a line with the stars. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the oldest monuments on the list of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The Great Pyramids of Giza, along with the pyramids of Menkaure and the pyramids of Khafre, were built almost 46 years ago to protect the bodies of the possessions of the pharaoh, which we know it's no such thing as pharaoh. The word pharaoh comes from the word per-ah, and per-ah only means the great house. So when you understand the language, you won't get misconstrued in some of the terminologies. But I left that word pharaoh there, but it's no such thing as the word pharaoh. That word, the Greeks, that word is a Greek word which comes from the word per-ah. And we don't run around calling this foolish president we had and these other presidents we have the White House. This is where the White House get its term from, the White House from the Great House. The Nasut Bitis was the kings. That was their title, the kings, not pharaoh. So we wasn't running around calling our Nasut Bitis in North Africa or any place in Africa, here comes the pharaoh. Here comes the pharaoh, meaning here comes the great house. Here comes the great house. We don't call our president. Here comes the White House. Here comes the White House. Here comes the White House. But again, do the knowledge on that. Pharaoh comes from the word per-ah. Per-ah only means great house. Ah means great. Per means house. Pharaoh Khufu, Menkaure, and Khafre, it took 20 to 25 years to build each pyramid, each with 2 million blocks of limestone and granite. Now, here is the layout. I wish I could have had the picture a little bit bigger where you can see the 3 pyramids of Giza, where the 3 pyramids of Giza is lined up with the Orion belt. The layout of the 3 pyramids on the grounds in 2500 BCE, it is then observed that the Orion belt stars are somewhat skewed in relation to the ground plans of the 3 pyramids, since precessions cause the height of the stars to change with time over a period of 26,000 years. Trying to tilt the sky image anti-clockwise back to the night sky, we would observe in 10,500 BC epoch, when the observed a perfect match of the sky grounding image, while the stars Mentaka, smallest of the 3 stars of the Orion belt, is slightly slanted in the southwestern direction related to the axis of the Milky Way. The 3rd pyramid to emanate this layout by being offset from the 2 great pyramids in a similar direction. So the 3rd pyramid of Khufu, the 3rd pyramid of Menkaure, it was slighted or bent just a little bit to resemble what it was saying up here. The image was anti-clockwise back, and well, it was tilted. So you can see. Hold on, let me get where I was left off at. Okay, with the 3 stars Orion belt slighted slightly in the southwestern direction related to the axis of the Milky Way, and the 3rd pyramid to emanate this layout by being offsetted from the 2 great pyramids in a similar direction. Powerful. Discoveries of the ancient Remich fascination of devotion toward the stars, in which they associated with, and I put that word up there, God, I really don't like to use that terminology. God tell us that the strong resemblance of the pyramid layouts with the skies and the unlikely to coincidental. So when exactly were the pyramids built according to Buval, the pyramids themselves was largely built 2500 BC, while establishing while the ground plans of the 3 pyramids was physically established in 10,500 BCE. His conclusion once again stood up close scrutiny, while some research disagrees with the river Nile mirroring the Milky Way by in the 10,500 epoch. Others include that exactly mirrored occurred 12,500 BCE, not suggested to 10,500. So you can see there as well that our ancestors was also master builders and master astrologers. They also studied the stars, but they're not teaching our babies in the food system this type of information. The pyramids of Ushakaf. The construction of the pyramid of Ushakaf was built in the field of the Saqqara during the 5th dynasty. It was built directly to the northeast of the Step Pyramid, which had been commissioned by the Nasut Binti Zohar so many centuries earlier. But unlike the Step Pyramid, the style of the pyramid located within the complex following general designs of their immediate predecessor, constructed from a stretched stone with core made up from rubble. The pyramid was suitable in complex of large sizes, using different architecture and locations for the interior compared to those that had most recently come before it. In a sense, the Saqqara location was both new and old, as both pyramid constructions back to the sites of the Step Pyramid, a place that had not from pyramid complexes census. So we know that the pyramid started off being built in Saqqara. Then it went from Saqqara to the Giza Plateau. Now Ushakaf is bringing it back to Saqqara. The Saqqara location was both new and old. It brought pyramid constructions back to the site of the Step Pyramid as a place that had not for pyramid complexes since. The pyramid Ushakaf reached the height of 175 feet with a base of over 200 feet following the complexion. Like the Great Pyramid of Giza, the size of the pyramid extended upward at an angle of 53 degrees, and roughly hewed blocks of local limestones were used to build up the step-like rubble core of the pyramid. The ongoing removal of the limestone interior meant that the rough rubble interior continued to degrade over time, and the remaining of Ushakaf was eventually left in ruins. Today there is a little left mark existing part of the conical hills in the pyramid fields of Saqqara. The pyramid came to be known locally as El Harim El Melhalbish, the heap of stone, due to its living in the funeral chambers, leaving the once grand pyramid resembling nothing more than a mound of rubble. The pyramid of Saharu. The pyramid of the 5th dynasty, the Nasut Binti Naharu construction techniques utilized in this structure, which is also common to all pyramids in the 5th dynasty, in the use of the T-shape beneath the superstructure of the temple. The digging of such a trench allowed for access during the outcome work is usually filled with rubble, followed by a completion of the structure. This can be seen directly in the pyramid of Nefer-Ethre, which was left unfinished with the T-shaped ditch visible of investigation. Like so many others, Kemet greatly monuments worked the pyramids of Sahara was heavily damaged by later generations taking and reusing its limestone interior. So you can see a lot of most of the pyramids I showed you, some of them are still in good shape, some of them are not in good shape due to the grave robbers and different people coming in and taking things out and building things, and it's not withstanding due to the weather. At the time of completion, it's estimated the pyramid measured over 150 feet in height and based in nearly 250 feet in length. The core of the pyramid was made up of low-grade, roughly hewed limestone block, predominantly sourced from local quarries, with a space between a block filled with mortar and rubble. The pyramid of Nefer-Kara. The pyramid of Nefer-Kara, or the Mer'u of Nefer-Karu, also known as Ba of Nefer-Karu, was erected at the necropolis site of Abusir, located in the south of Kemet, Giza Plateau. The tallest of the pyramid constructed during Kemet 5th dynasty. It reached an estimated height of nearly 250 feet when first completed. The pyramid, although commissioned by the Nasut-Bidi Nefer-Kara Kaka'a, was not completed before his death, estimated as before reign was approximately 20 years. Nefer-Kara Kaka'a was the third Nasut-Bidi. His name means beautiful of the soul of Ra. Although the 20 years estimated his reign, generally accepted available archaeological material evidence only up to the 5th dynasty. So we know Nefer means beautiful. We know Ka means soul. The pyramid of Djedid Kara Isi Nasut-Bidi Djedid Kara. The pyramid was constructed in Saqqara, making it the first Nasut to build a funeral architecture to the south of the existing Saqqara of necropolis, with the step core 6 layers height and the original height of over nearly 175 feet at the time of completion. This pyramid was another comprised of limestone blocks. Its length was 200 feet per side, with the degrees of an extending of each side measured 52 degrees, the same degree the bent pyramid has tried unsuccessfully to use before being forced to be altered angular near its apex. The Pyramid of Unas. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Pyramid of Unas. The Pyramid of Unas, before I even go on the Pyramid of Unas, the Pyramid of Unas was constructed by the Nasut-Bidi Unas. Now, when this pyramid, you can see where this is the oldest spiritual text comes from. This is where the ancestors in North Africa begins to carve on the walls the spiritual text, what we're calling now the pyramid text. This is where the pyramid text come from, of the Makut Sabiat come from. We'll use their terminology. The Meru Sabiat. So this is where the spiritual system come from. The spiritual system come from, and you can see that a lot of the pyramid text or the Meru Sabiats. A lot of this. The Texas was extracted into other different cultures later on, which i.e. we get our other, or i.e. where we get religion from. So this is the Pyramid of Unas. The Pyramid of Unas was also built in the field of Saqqara in the 5th dynasty. The pyramid was originally dubbed beautiful, or the beautiful or the place of Unas, constructed in a close proximity to the step pyramid constructed under Zoja at Saqqara. Unas pyramid complex also features a caseway around nearly half a mile a length that followed the edge of the natural water feature. The causeway ceiling was covered, and its walls were decorated with intricate and beautiful color relief images. There were also numbers of mastabas located to the northeast of the main pyramid, holding the remains of the Nasut-Bidi concert. So we know that the word mastaba is not the term that they used. The term that they used was Per Nejet, was the house of eternity, Per Nejet. And we know that the pyramid age sprung off from the mastaba, from the Per Nejet, which was built in mud brick. As I reiterated early, our ancestors in North Africa looked at nature and learned from nature. They studied in nature. So they learned how to build from looking at the ants and the termites, building ant mounds and termite mounds. I went back earlier and I showed a picture of the termite mound and the ant mound, and then we went into the Per Nejet, or what is called today the mastaba. All right. Today, the once grand pyramid has been so severely weathered that it now look more like a natural hill feature than a pyramid structure. The burial chamber were also plundered long ago, but when excavated took places, archaeologists found it still contained some remnants. including a skull, right arm, and shin. The Pyramid of Teti. The Pyramid of Teti was built in the field of Saqqara in Kemet. The pyramid is historically the second known pyramid. It contains the pyramid text of the Mer Sabiat. The pyramid is historically the second known pyramid containing the Merkur Sabiats. The pyramid appears to have been modeled closely after the pyramid of the Jed Kadre Ise, and is situated in a complex with corresponding funeral temples, satellite pyramids, and two smaller pyramids dedicated to the Nasut Bidi Teti queen, or the Kemet Nasut is what she would be called. Shoot, I lost my place already. The original height of the Teti pyramid was over 150 feet. It is base side measured nearly 250 feet each. However, with others whose smooth side castings were removed, the exposed substructure of the pyramid eroded badly. The central core was composed of local sources material made up of stone and debris piles and the rubbish formation. Now, this here, I didn't have but 26 slides to present. I wanted to do more slides, but I know that our attention spans is very slow. So I'll just recap and go back. We went back and we talked about the pyramid. We talked about the first. I went into well, let me get the sources first. The sources, the Architectures of Africa, Wikipedia, NM, Wikipedia.org, Introducing of Greek Architecture, Archaeology, www.khanacademy.org, the book Chronicles of the Pharaohs, the reign by, and I done messed that up. It's the reign records of the rulers of the destinies of ancient Egypt by Peter A. Clayton. Another book, The Great Pyramids, the Ancient Egyptians Revisited by John Romer. Another book, The Egyptian Pyramids, the Origin and the Histories of the World of the Famous Monuments by Charles Revere Adistor. Now, I went in and I talked about the reason for this presentation was just to present present a quick PowerPoint to show you that our babies is not being taught, is actually being taught a lot in the school system. And I'm tired of them being exposed to another culture, and they're not, exposed to another culture and exposed to lies. So we know that through the school system or the food system, they teach our babies that they are that the Greeks and the Romans civilized the world, and people and African people did not do anything great. It was, if it wasn't for slavery, we'll still be living in Africa as savages. So I'm showing you that our structures predates Greek structures. So if our structures predate their structures by thousands of years or hundreds of years, why are they not talking about our, why they are not talking about our greatness in Africa? So I talked about, I mentioned that you have older structures that is in Nubia, or what we're, and I want to get away from the word Nubia because they did not identify the landmass as Nubia. They identified the landmass as Tai Nahesi or Tai Seti. So in Tai Nahesi, you can find some of the older structures but I wanted to present some of the famous structures, which was in North Africa, or what we call Kemet, and what people know today as Egypt. So I went through and we talked about the mastaba was the first structure. Then we went and we talked about the step pyramid. We talked about the pyramid of Sekhem, the pyramid. We talked about the layer pyramid of Kaaba. We talked about the pyramid of honey. We talked about the pyramid of Seneferu, where Seneferu begins to go into his own style of pyramid, because you can see during the third dynasty, after the step pyramid of Zoja was built by Imhotep, they started trying to duplicate the structures. So Seneferu finished Honey's pyramid, and then the medium pyramid, and then he went on to start and revelize his own, the smooth side pyramid, that started to take off with Seneferu. So this is where this design, the smooth side, comes from Seneferu, and the step pyramid comes from Zoja or Imhotep. Where we talked about the red pyramid, which it was called the North Pyramid, and then later on it was called the Red Pyramid after the limestone was stripped off and just only exposing the redness on it. Then then we talked about the pyramid of Khufu, the pyramid of Khafre, the Djed, which a lot of people don't talk about his son. We always talk about Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. So I wanted to talk about Djed Efre, talk about his pyramid, why his pyramid was in ruins. We talked about Kare, and we talked about the Haru Imketi, which y'all know was the Sphinx. We talked about the pyramid of Menkaure. Then we went into the greatness as our ancestors not only being master builders, but also they was master astrologers. So we talked when the pyramid of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, their pyramids was aligned with the stars, was aligned with the Orion's belt. So I gave you the layout of it, try to give you the best picture I can give. I kind of went into some information on that. We talked about Ushakhet pyramid, the pyramid of Sahare, the pyramid of Neferkare, the pyramid of the Djed Kare Isa, the pyramid of Unis, which I talked about briefly about the Mer Sebiats, what we call the pyramid text, the oldest spiritual text, which later people extracted different texts from there and created their own different ideology of their own different religions. We talked about the pyramid of Teti. This is also where you seen the pyramid text was also being carved in the walls. And then this is from the 1st to the 6th dynasty. And then you talk about then from that dynasty we usher in another area. I'm gonna come back and I wanted to do the pyramids, the famous structures. Now I'm gonna go and do the temples. So we got the temple age, we got the pyramid age, and now we're gonna go into the temple age. Where I may talk a little bit more about the Mer Sabiats of the pyramid text, and from the pyramid text in the Old Kingdom, you come in the Middle Kingdom with Mentuhotep, you begin to get the coffin text, and then from the coffin text into the new kingdom, where we start to see the temples start to be built. And so I'm gonna come back and do something and show you the structures of the temples and show you these pillars, because we're always talking about the designs of the pillars are a Greek invention, but the Greek did not invent the pillars. When we talk about the Tuscan, the Duric, no problem, Baba Ampu Ra. So I'm gonna show you the pillars. Show these pillars existed before any structure. And I'm gonna start showing some of the Greek structures, and even our temples predates the Greek structures. I showed you the pyramid predates the Greeks' first structures or the Greeks' first architectures. I'm going to show you the temples. I'm going to show you where I got the complete book of the temple when I did the presentation on the columns. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to get back with you with the columns, because most people, especially my Masonic brothers, we're always talking about and crediting the Greeks for the pillars. And when they talk about the Tuscan, the Duric, the Capasic, and the Corinthian pillars, those pillars, those designs come from the people in Africa. They did not come from the Greeks. The Greek taught the Greeks that, and they took that design and went forward. But they're not teaching that as well as school, as well in the Masonic lodges. So I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do something on the temples. Probably go again a little bit into the pyramid text, go into the coffin text, was in the Middle Kingdom, go into from that into the New Kingdom with the temples and what y'all call today the Book of the Dead, which we know it was called the Runu M Per M Haru, the coming forth by day, which sprung other books, the Book of the Heavenly Cows, the Amdawab, the Book of the Gates, the the lenses of Ra, which I have a lot of information about the lenses of Ra in my book that's coming, the Overstanding the Ra in the many manifestations of him. So a lot of things I'll be coming from the 18th dynasty, dealing with the lentils of Ra and showing you the primary evidence of the lentils of the lentils of Ra. So I hope y'all enjoyed the lecture. I go by Rennie Kofi Paisai. That means my name is Kofi Paisai. I wanted to give my name in the beginning, and I kind of got ahead of myself because I was a little bit early. I want to just say Dual to the Aku. That's which I want to pay homage to the ancestors, or I want to say Egun Mujube Ibe, which is Egun Mujube Ibe, which also I pay homage to the ancestors, because again, I wouldn't be nothing without the ancestors. We wouldn't be here without the ancestors. So Shimim Hotep, Uncle Giles and Neb. See y'all later.